We'll try a little bit of a different format because my boy BG said, you know what? He said we need a little more introduction. We need to be a little more conversational, and I totally agree. I mean, when you're the step in head coach, I gotta listen to you. So I had to hear you out. So we're gonna follow suit and follow what you want to do. So we'll begin with the best of, as mentioned, from last week. NBA Week 14. We'll go through the players, our best players from last week. We'll go round robin on that, and then we'll come back around and do our best teams of last week. So we'll begin with BG. Zay will be up second, and I'm batting third. So BG, we'll start with you. Best players of last week.
All right, I'm going to start in the East. I'm going to go for my East player of the week. I'm going to go with the guy you've been harping on a lot. I know it kind of gets old saying the same guys over and over, but Joel Embiid, man, he's balling right now. He's balling. He's probably 1 or 2 in the MVP race for me. But last week, looking at his week from last week, starting from Monday through Sunday of last week. Monday, he had 32, 8, and 1 in a loss to Washington. Wednesday, he had 50, 12, and 2 in a win over Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I know Orlando's in the bottom of the East, but still a 50 piece.
Bro, I think he had 25 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, he's balling. I saw Jason Williams actually posted a tweet or an Instagram thing, and he said, you know, people are comparing him to Shaq, people are comparing him to Hakeem, but he said if you look at his footwork, he has the same footwork as MJ and Kobe on some of his fadeaways.
Nice. Yeah.
His footwork is nice, man. He's probably got the best footwork that we've seen in a big man in a while. So he's very skilled, very versatile, can shoot from outside. Friday night, he had 40, 13, and 6 in a loss to the Clippers. And then Sunday, he finished out his week with 38, 12, and 6 with a win over the Spurs. So in his last 7 days, he went 40, 11, and 4. So that's a pretty nice week for Joel Embiid there. In the West, I'm going to cheat a little bit in the West. I had to go with 1A and 1B. 2 guys had some great weeks, starting with Luka Doncic, man. Luka, he went 3-1 last week. On Monday night, he had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists, so he had a triple-double against the Thunder in a win. Wednesday night, he had 41, 14, and 7 against Toronto in a win. Thursday night, he had 28, 8, and 8 against Phoenix in a loss. You know, Phoenix, best team in the league. And Sunday night, he had 37, 11, and 9 in a big win over Memphis. Just, you know, putting Ja in his place, telling him, hey, little man, you're still behind me a little bit.
Yeah, you texted us too. You said, hey, who's better, Ja or Luka? And you said Luka proved that he was a better player.
He proved he was, man. So Luka last week, in his last seven days, he went 31.5 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. So almost averaged a triple-double, okay? So he's my 1B for the week, for the West. But my 1A, I got to go back to the Joker, man. The Joker. Sunday night, last Sunday, the 16th, last Sunday. So this technically wasn't in the week, but I wanted to put it in there. He went 25, 15, and 14 with a triple-double in a loss to Utah. Then Wednesday, he went 49, 14, and 10, a triple-double in a win versus the Clippers. Friday night, he went 26, 11, and 12, 3 straight triple-doubles in a loss to Memphis. And then Sunday night, he went 34, 9, and 8, almost 4 triple-doubles in a row with a win over Detroit.
That's disgusting. Y'all hear that? Almost 4 triple-doubles in a row. That is disgusting. In the NBA, so almost 4 in a row.
His week was 33.5 points, 12.3 rebounds, and 11 assists.
Just light work.
I mean,
just light work.
The most efficient player in the NBA right now. He's got the #1 efficiency rating, and he's my 1A Western Conference Player of the Week. Luka, my 1B Western Conference Player of the Week, and Joel Embiid, my Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
I love it. Zay?
Yeah, so bouncing off that, you know, those guys definitely had great weeks, and they definitely doing what they can with their teams. But I'm gonna go back to somebody that's definitely one of the best players in the NBA, and will end up as one of the greatest of all time, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is my Eastern Conference Player of the Week, currently averaging 28 points a game, 11 rebounds, averaging a double-double, and third in player efficiency rating. Last week, he had 27, 33, and 30 points in a game, while all shooting over 40%, which is pretty good, knowing that he's been able to do it all. One of the games, he shot 50% from three. So that's telling you guys that he's been working on that shot. Although he didn't take any threes during the Bulls game that they unfortunately won, but he's definitely been showing that he's one of the best in the NBA when it comes to efficiency and getting his cheese. He's been getting his cheese. But I've been most impressed with just the leadership behind him. He's bringing that team along, and they're still in the conversation for NBA championship. And it's crazy to think about. Like last year, people think they really came out of nowhere, but they've been playing consistent, good basketball. They went 2-1 last week. And I just think that's a team and a player to really watch out for as the year progresses. For my Western Conference Player of the Week, BG mentioned it slightly, but the Phoenix Suns, they're the hottest team in the NBA right now.
Hottest thing smoking, man.
Yeah, no doubt. They are burning everybody, and a big reason for that.
Don't say it.
Is Chris Paul.
Oh,
Chris
okay.
He has had last week in 3 games. So the week started on Monday, but even on Monday, he had a good game, leading them into almost a 20-point win over the Detroit basketball team. Play reference. But in 3 wins, he had a double-double. He had 15 and 12, 20 and 11, 18 and 16, and just shooting at a very high rate. And those are assists, by the way. But 18 points and 16 assists. I'm going to say that again. 18 points and 16 assists
Just
with
another day
only
at the office.
4 turnovers. That man is efficient at his finest, and he's showing it. He's doing what he can to lead that team. He's a seasoned veteran leading the Phoenix Suns right now. They're 36-9, and right now he pushed his way into the MVP conversation. He's at number 5 right now. So hats off to him, and hopefully they could keep it going, because it's pretty impressive to see.
All right, I love it, man. Yeah,
I ain't even gonna lie. Chris Paul jumped out at me, but I knew Zay was gonna go with him, so I had to get a different direction.
I love that, man. That's called teamwork right there, man.
That is.
So speaking of teamwork, we'll start in the West, because I'm actually gonna cheat like BG in the East. Okay, I got a couple of cats in the East. I really wanted to highlight just those 2 guys in the East, but I do want to give love to the West because there are a lot of really good players there. So I'm gonna piggyback off of you, Zay, and say, look, my top guy last week was also on the Phoenix Suns. And it's a name a lot of people know. He was in my top 10. I think he may have been the only player within my top 10 of all of our lists. And I'm talking about the Devin Booker. Okay. Last week you talked about, we know what type of run that the Phoenix Suns are going on, right? We talk about that. That's nothing new, man. I think they have a legitimate shot, like most people, to return to the NBA Finals. And I think this year they have an opportunity to actually win it. Okay. And a lot of that has to do with Devin Booker and what he's been doing. Again, last week they had a bunch of wins. In the last 10 games, the Phoenix Suns have won 9 of them. So again, one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in all of basketball. And now, games last week, Devin Booker, his last game wasn't so hot. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists against Indiana, and that was actually a win. Okay, so they didn't need much out of him. All right, and they were up early in that game. But you talk about the other games this past week, he had a game of 28 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists against the Mavericks in a win. Okay, which I actually thought the Mavericks would win that. Me and BG both picked them, but because of Devin Booker, Mavs lost, right? And that's what he can do against San Antonio. The game before that, he had a nearly 50 piece. He had 48 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He shot 7 for 8 from the free throw line. He hit 5 threes in the game before that against Detroit. And everybody goes off against Detroit. That ain't nothing new. But he had a 30 piece. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and just been efficient, man. He's not just a 3-point shooter. He's not just a mid-range player. He's not just a guy that can attack the basket. He can literally do it all. All right, and to speed it up, because I do have 2 guys in the East, I'm just going to name them. The first guy I'm going to name, look, Jared Allen. Is anybody ever talking about Jared Allen? We know the type of season that the Cavaliers are having. A lot of it has to do with because of the big man, Jared Allen. We'll highlight the Cavs a little bit later because they have a really big game against the Bucks this upcoming week. They're number 5 right now, currently in the NBA East standings. They're going to play the Bucks, who are number 4. So they're neck and neck. If the playoffs started today, those 2 teams will be facing off in the 7-game series. How beautiful would that be? So Jared Allen is just a double machine. And in all his games last week, he had 4 double-doubles. 4 of them. Like he may not have the 30 and the 15 type of games, but he's good for 20, 15, 15, 12. It's consistent, okay? And when you build an NBA franchise, you want to build sustainable success. You do it with players like this because he can sustain success. He can do it day in and day out, night in and night out. He can produce. We're talking Jared Allen there for the Cavs. And then a guy that we all know about, Ice Trae Young for the Hawks. The Hawks, quiet as kept. Let me pull this up. Quiet as kept. The Hawks are now, they're kind of moving up in the track. I mean, they started very slow. And they had a bunch of injuries. COVID really hit them bad. But last week, they had 4 wins. Yes, they had 4 wins last week. Okay, so it's really good. And they need this at a time where it is ultra important to stack up as many wins for them as possible. Again, they're 12th in the East right now. To be able to make a 7th or 8th spot or even make the play-in, they got to win a bunch more games. And if they're going to be able to do it, it's because of Ice Trae Young. Last week, again, pulling up his stats, I mean, this kid's amazing. Look, in those 4 wins, he had totals of 30 points, 28 points, 37 points, 30 points. You know he's going to assist the ball. 2 of those performances, he had over 10 assists. He's even rebounding the ball better, averaging 5 rebounds last week. And he's been much more efficient from the floor, from the free throw line. I mean, he's had 2 of those games where he had 37 and 30 points. He did not miss a free throw. And it's not like he's shooting 2 or 3 free throws. He's shooting 11 free throws in one game, went for 11 for 11. The other game, he went 14 for 14. And then from the 3 line, he's been really efficient. His last game against Charlotte from the 3 line, he shot 15 threes. I want you to guess how many he made. More than half. I'm gonna beat you to the punch. More than half. He had 8 out of those 15 threes he shot. He made them. And this kid is nice. Y'all know that. And he's really living up to the billing, living up to the hype. So those are my players of the week. Now we're gonna do teams of the week. We're back to you, BG. Go.
Quick question before we go.
Yeah, I love the questions, man. We need more questions.
What draft class was Jared Allen in?
Oh, was he in the 2017?
2017. I thought you were leading up to something with that. I thought you were giving us a little.
Well, we got to do the teams, but again, it's him and the Cavs. They're kind of they're a subtext of this.
Jared Allen went 22nd overall in the 2017.
Well, speaking of that draft, and speaking of players that went way too low, we're talking about the Hawks. Trae Young, his teammate. John Collins, I think he went like number 21 in that draft. He should have been much higher. 22nd, 21, 23rd.
Oh, let me find him here. John Collins.
I have it pulled up too, man.
He went 19th.
Okay. Right? And it was a bunch of players in those teams where I'm like, I don't even know if that cat's still in the league. The player before him was TJ Leaf. When's the last time you heard of TJ Leaf?
The year he got drafted.
Exactly. Let's do our best teams of NBA Week 14, which was last week.
All right,
BG.
So it's time to give them, their respect. My team of the West, the best team in the league, the Phoenix Suns. They're 9.
Oh, that's so easy.
Come on, I was trying to stay away from it, but there's no other options here. They're smoking hot right now. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. 6-game win streak. In that 6-game win streak, they got 2 wins over the Pacers. They got a win over the Mavs, a win over the Spurs, a win over the Pistons, and a win over the Raptors. 4 of those 6 wins are by double digits. So they're not only beating teams, I mean,
Snatches.
if you're beating an NBA team by double digits, that's pretty big win. Pretty big win. They're first place in the West. They're 3 games up. I think they got 36 wins on the year. They're the only team above 35 wins. I think Golden State has 33 wins or 32, something like that. They're the only team with single-digit losses. So they're 36-9. Only team with single-digit losses.
We're talking more than half the season.
Yeah, they're not one of those teams that ESPN kind of highlights too much, but they should, man. They really should. My team in the East, all right, for a couple different reasons here. My team in the East is the South Beach Miami Heat. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. In their last 10, they got close losses to the Warriors and the Hawks. They have a loss to the 76ers. But they've beaten the Lakers, the Blazers twice, the Raptors, the Hawks twice, and they have a win over the Red Hot Suns. So the Suns' only loss in their last 10 games is to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they stayed above water when Bam was out for 6 weeks with a thumb injury. Butler was out for a little bit of time, but they're finally getting healthy. They got Butler back. They got Bam back. They're currently number 1 in the East, kind of quietly, I think, unless Brooklyn jumped them again. But I expect them to stay there. They're one of those teams where they're built on their culture. They work hard. Jimmy is a great leader. He finally found a great fit, bouncing around a little bit with the T-Wolves.
Did you see the stat with him?
I did not see the stat with him.
So he actually recorded his 10th triple-double in a Miami Heat jersey in what? I don't know how long he's been there. What, 3 years?
30.
Third year. And that actually surpassed LeBron's time. So he surpassed LeBron. He has more triple doubles in a Heat jersey than LeBron James, and he had 2 just last week. So that goes to show you how potent he's been for that team.
Jimmy Butler, he's one of those superstars that he doesn't go out there and try to get his. He's one of those guys that really is a great teammate superstar. Make sure his guys are going. Make sure he leads by example.
He'll let the game come to him. Like he's that cliche player.
And when they need him to step up down the stretch, he steps up. He plays both ends of the floor. He's a two-way player. And yeah, man, the Miami Heat, they're my team of the week in the East there.
Zay, what you got for us? Teams of the week.
Teams of the week. I'm gonna start in the Western Conference. My team of the week is the Dallas Mavericks. They've won 11 of their last 13 games, and coming up against some pretty notable hot teams. You know, they beat the Bulls a couple weeks ago. Last week they beat the Grizzlies, and that was their second win against the Grizzlies in less than a week. And then they also had wins over the Magic, the Thunder. But the most impressive part about it was the fact that they were allowing 6 points fewer per 100 possessions, which means that their defense has been stepping up. And they've just been shining defensively. Obviously, Luka getting it done. But if they could get it figured out on offense, this will be a really scary team. Right now, they're 27-20, and offensively, they're 25th in points per game, and they're not too good on the assist either, 17th. But if they could get it figured out and get some offensive consistency, then that could be a really scary team for somebody like the Suns or even the Grizzlies in a 7-game series. So be on the lookout for that for sure. My Eastern Conference team of the week is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Those young boys are balling. They split.
Stole one from me, Zay.
Yeah. Hey, and it's hard not to. I mean, they played the Warriors really tough, and last week they played the Nets really tough, coming out with the W. And then obviously they fell against the Bulls, but I mean that's to be like, that's one of those young team type things. Outside of that, that's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 of their last 8 games they've won. You know, coming up against the Bucks tomorrow or this Wednesday, a Proving Point, which that's going to be a test to how good they are. I think the young talent there is something to grow upon, and if they can get a trade, it's probably not going to happen this year, but this summer, if they could get like a veteran player to come in and step in, that could be easily not a championship contender, but a scary team to match up with in a 7-game series.
All right, I love it, man. I'll have to get each team. My phone is being super slow right now, but I got to be able to get these teams from you and the players. We'll get those at the end of the show, so please remind me. Fans out there, I hope you're loving this. I hope you're enjoying the show. Again, we're coming to you weekly on the TST Media Network. We have the Coach T NBA show, of course. We have the Coach T NFL show that's still going. What a beautiful weekend of football, man. Jeez, like that divisional round was absolutely phenomenal. So we'll talk about that. College football show that has wrapped up, but that will be back before we know it. And I'm thinking, maybe it's not me, maybe it's not, I don't have enough bandwidth. My wife would kill me, but maybe I can find a couple co-hosts that are willing to do the college basketball, the Coach T college basketball show. We'll see. It's March Madness. We'll be here before we know it. But quickly, okay, we'll go over my teams of the week. Me being Coach T. Okay, for the West, we'll start out West. Start on the left coast. I got 2 teams. Now, you guys will start to realize I like to try to highlight players that are seldomly spoken about. I try to highlight teams that are seldomly spoken about. So I got 2 teams, and I'm going to make it quick. I'm just going to run them all. 2 teams in the West that had really good weeks last week. Portland Trailblazers. Last week, they went, what was it? They went 3-1 last week. The only loss being to the Miami Heat, who's number 1 in the East. They beat the Celtics, they beat the Raptors, and they beat the Magic. And I know last game against the Raptors, CJ McCollum came back. So if he's able to come back, continue to play like how he's playing, recent reports with Damian Lillard just came out, said he doesn't know if he's going to come back, because the team is quote unquote playing for a draft pick. That's a little fuzzy. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I mean, this team is not too far out from potentially, having a really good couple of weeks, being in the 8th spot, or at the very least, have an opportunity to play in the play-in. Another team, I mentioned their player. Oh no, I just mentioned their team. I thought I mentioned their player. I was considering one of their players. Minnesota Timberwolves. They're currently, as I mentioned, number 7 in the West now. And last week, they won out of all their games. They also went 3-1 with wins over the Warriors last Sunday. They beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, big win. They lost to the Hawks, who is one of my Eastern teams that is really hot, and then they beat the Nets. So they're getting the job done, man. That young gun talent that they have with Anthony Edwards, with Cat seems like he's been in the NBA for like 15 years, but he's still under 30 somehow, some way. D'Angelo Roberts, he's playing well. Is his name D'Angelo Roberts? See, you get on these shows, man, and you start D'Angelo Russell. That's who it is.
Russell, yeah.
Yes.
That sounds like Ohio State, man.
Yeah, man, a little lefty. Teams in the East, I'm going to go with 2 really quickly. I talked about the Atlanta Hawks. They won every game last week, and a lot had to do with Trae Young, but just overall, they're starting to kind of pull it together, and they need to, because again, they're 12th in the East right now. If they don't have a couple really good weeks in a row, they may be saying 1, 2, 3 Cancun at the end of the season. They may be on vacation early. Another team that I really like out of the East that I'm going to highlight, Charlotte Hornets. Your boy, Ball. Ball's been balling. Rozier's been balling. Gordon Hayward's been balling. Miles Bridges has been balling. They coming together at the right time. Last 10 games, they won 7 of them. And then last week, they went, what did they do last week? They went 3-1 as well, with wins over the Thunder, Celtics, and the Knicks. So two of those wins being Eastern Conference teams. So obviously that's going to help their standing. So those are my teams of last week, NBA Week 14.